Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our Nearpod lesson review for lessons 25 through 27. And we're going to take a moment to go through each part of the Nearpod and all the different activities, and then focus on the Draw It section where you're actually answering a few of those questions. We'll show you some excellent genius work and some who thought of it a little bit differently. So we'll take a look at those as we move through here. To start, right, here is our dividing fractions Nearpod. I'm going to go scroll through these. Hopefully you enjoyed my quick little videos. I want to focus on our field trip first. Right, as we look, some of you mentioned, hey, Mr. Phillip, I can't find the Aladdin picture. And let's see if it'll let me scroll through. Yes, it will. Aladdin picture is right here. Okay, there's the Aladdin sideways, okay, and there's 8 billboards right here, 8 posters, very large posters. How many of them have faces to it? Well, Les Mis has one, and Mamma Mia, and Wicked. So there's 3 out of the 8. So if you're going to solve the problem in that quick little quiz, about 75% of the students or geniuses had it correct at 3/8. So if you couldn't find it, there it is for you. As we move forward, well, there's my answer to the problem. Right. The sticky note section didn't work. I'm not quite sure. I'll have to play around with it a little bit more. I wasn't too worried about it. Right. The dividing fraction goal and our vocabulary. Some of us skipped this part, so if you haven't done that, please go ahead and do it. Right. I think it's really good practice, especially with the quotient here. Right. And that's the result of dividing one number by another. And the fraction model ends up being pretty quick because it's the only one with a model. And a fraction with a numerator of 1 we know is a unit fraction. And a number made up of a whole number and a fraction, well, that's a mixed number. As we move on, I hope that you enjoyed the little wrap that they had. It was nice that they created pictures in there. They broke down their holes, whether it's their walls or their bench. As we move forward, the activities, I know that you didn't have to log in and sign up. All you had to do is just scroll on down and play a couple of those. There's 5 or 6 of them before they asked you to sign up. Right? But you notice that when you divide a whole number, you end up getting a whole number as your answer. And when you're starting with a fraction first and you're dividing it, your answer is going to be in fraction form. That's the real goal of these, that little hint to help you. So as we move on, this is here where a lot of us struggled. It looked like some of us were just guessing and hoping to get it right. And because some of us were almost in the hundreds of different guesses. So if I was looking at the very first one, which fraction model shows 3 divided by a half? Well, I'm looking for a model. I'm only down to 2. Right? Which one has 3 holes? And I see here in blue there's 2 holes. Here's 3 holes, so it must be this one. Right? And let's jump down to this one here, for example. 3 divided by 1/4. I'm looking for 3 holes broken up into 4 pieces each. Right, so one hole has 4 pieces, another hole has 4 pieces, a third hole has 4 pieces. That's going to give us 12 total pieces right here. Remember, we're starting with a whole number, we end in a whole number, so there's our answer. And it doesn't really matter which ones we pick. Let's try this one down here. This one is a 4th divided by 4, so we're starting with 1/4 of the whole. And you're cutting that one up into 4 pieces. How much is that as a total of the entire whole, that entire candy bar or brownie? Right? So if it starts as a fraction, it's going to end in a fraction. So then it's going to be this one, this one, this one, or this one. You're only down to 4. Right? Now, the 1/4 in 4 pieces is going to give you 1 piece out of 16. There's your answer. Right? So it would take you a little bit of stopping to think if you use some scratch piece of paper or your workbook to help you out, draw some pictures, some models. I think that would certainly benefit you. If you haven't done this section, please make sure that you complete it and go back to it and practice it for yourself. As we skip through, now let's take a look at our work here. We're going to look at a few geniuses. And the very first one we're going to look at is courtesy of Hef. And I really liked Hef's that she created some models. I can see her 6 holes, which I think would help if we just labeled at least one of those. And she broke each one into fourths. Again, label each one into fourths. Right? How many different fourths would there be? Right? If we take that little person, there's one student is getting a part of that candy bar, a second student, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. You keep going, there's going to be 24 students who are getting candy bars. So, half, excellent work. Correct on that. If we look at just the opposite now in this one here, this is courtesy of Katie. Okay? She took 1/4 and divided it into 6 pieces. A little hard to see the 6 total pieces. It might help to label or the 1/4. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. So here's our 1/4. And she cut it up into 1/6. We'll label that as well. Okay? Don't forget to label. And I know it's a little tricky first time doing Nearpod and trying to draw it on a screen. Right? But I can see that here's her fourth into 6 pieces. So if she counts up all of her little pieces, right, she's going to have just one of those pieces out of the total 24. Right? So 1/24 is the answer. Nice job, Katie. Our next one was a word problem, which made us think a little bit. This is courtesy of Zion, and he chose not to do a model here, which is this work here is similar to what Mr. H was talking about and trying to do it in a number form or unit form. Right? But if 1 mile is 4/4 of a mile, right, that's equals 4/4 is 1, okay, so they're equivalent. So 5 miles must be 20/4, again, another equivalent fraction. So how many signs did he see every 1/4 mile? He saw 20 of those, and that is certainly correct. For those who drew it in a model, you would have 5 models off to the side and labeling them. There's 1 hole, and each of those are being cut up into fourths. So how many signs would you see? And Zion, if he was doing it, would label that as well. There's 20 signs. 1, 2, 3, 4 for each. 4 times 5 is going to give us 20. And it just makes sense. Some of us who might have thought if the answer is 1/20th, are you really going to see 1/20th of a sign? Right? If you think of a stop sign, right? If you had to create a stop sign here, right? Are you really only going to see 1/20th? If you had to cut this into 20 different pieces, are you only going to see one of those? No, it just doesn't seem reasonable that this would be it. 20 is the correct one. So nice work, Zion, in your work. And for those who did it in model form, awesome work as well. And the last one is courtesy of Maya. I really liked hers as she found the details in there. Excellent job, Maya. A few of you did some underlining, boxing in as well. So excellent here. I can see that her fifth of a pan, okay, she started with a fifth of it, labeled it, really like that. Okay, and among the 4 family members, I can see there's 1 family member, 2, 3, and 4. All right. So she took her fifth, cut it up into 4 pieces, right, and you're left with just that one piece. Right? So he, 8, Mr. Phillip, 8 1/20th. If you wrote it as a fraction, it would certainly look like that. All right, excellent job, Maya. Very proud of you as well. All right. And those are our work for our Nearpod. If you haven't done your poll, tell me how you feel, or you haven't done your flip grid yet, please make sure that you do that by Friday. All right? And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Google Classroom.